Well,
you nearly walked into that board there.
And I wish I had more time to post more blog posts there, do more videos, which I'm going to try to do in the future. Typically, I'll write something before the shows, but it's really something that I view as the most important thing I do, which is not, we of course create wonderful products, but the most important thing I do is create the information.
Right.
Because the information means that even if you don't get my products, which I know most people watching these shows, they'll buy someone else's product, which is fine. Most people buy their vitamins in their supermarket or discount store, but they'll be more informed and they'll make a better purchase in that supermarket or discount store thanks to the information we provide here.
We're going to head on to cranberry and talk about the wonderful benefits and effects and really talk about how this can help improve quality of life. And I think that's such a central theme to everything we've done over the past, you know, hour and a half, or whenever Andrew does these Monday night show takeovers. It's about quality of life, feeling better, feeling more alive, having that zest for life. Some wonderful things that many of us didn't even know existed. Our graphic says really everything you could possibly want on this.
And what's great about this is a product, the preliminary question that seems to come up constantly, is there a better time of day? When should I take them?
Right.
So what I always say is take them at the time where you'll be most likely to take them and enjoy the benefits, because it's like these are not medicines, but the key to getting the results from a medicine is what they call compliance, that you actually use it appropriately on a daily basis. The same with vitamins, that you get the key nutrients you need on that daily basis. But when it comes to cranberry, I prefer to take cranberry at night for a very, very specific reason.
Why?
And we've gotten tremendous feedback from folks telling us that they've changed when they take their cranberry and the product works even better. And the product is already a product that's virtually perfectly reviewed. All we do is take cranberry, we concentrate the most beneficial compounds, and we put them in a capsule. So cranberry is one of those, I say it's the poster child for a traditional ingredient that becomes respected by science, medicine, physicians, because a lot of traditional ingredients are just kind of poo-pooed. They're dismissed as not being valid, not being true. And cranberry is certainly an ingredient we know that absolutely does support the urinary tract health, bladder health. So it's something that has gone from traditionally respected to now being clinically and scientifically respected. And our cranberry, very simple, very straightforward, very affordable, and it's a product that delivers its benefits in a fashion that if you take it at night, well, think about things. When we go to sleep at night, it's always a good idea. You want to be hydrated. You don't want to dehydrate at night. A lot of people tend to avoid fluid at night because they don't want to have to wake up to relieve themselves over the course of the evening. But it's never a good idea to really dehydrate yourself, because we're going to spend whatever 6, 8 hours or more in bed. But also when it comes to cranberry, that's typically going to be the longest period of time where we're going to leave fluid in our bladder.
Right.
So what better time to make sure that our bladder is bathed with the protective compounds that are found in cranberry than during that period of time when those compounds are going to have the greatest period of time to deliver their protective benefits. So that's why I always say taking cranberry at night, that's the best time. So obviously we take nighttime at night before we go to sleep, and cranberry, you could take it any time during the day and it's going to deliver its benefits. Some folks take a couple of capsules, take one in the morning and one in the evening, but if you're taking only one capsule of cranberry daily, I would say the evening is the best time to do so.
If you'd like to order cranberry, again, you've got all the different sizes. Remember, Andrew does the try me size as well on virtually everything. So give it a go for 20, 30 days.
It's a chance to experience the product. And this is one of those products, if your urinary tract bladder has been speaking to you periodically over the years, then this is an opportunity to naturally support it and to have a healthy dialogue with it. So many of us are different parts of our bodies as we get older. They tend to be having an even louder dialogue with us. So it's often a question of changing our diet, changing our lifestyle, intelligently supplementing, and we could quiet down that dialogue.
I think I'm having full-blown arguments with lots of parts of my body after you, sir. We're going to